1,000 poor people that are some of the poorest people on the planet, some of the most ignorant people on the planet. Not a judgment, just they don't have a lot of information on the planet. And over the last 20, 25 years, they have said in numbers of ways, help us. And they've gotten one corrupt government after another. The International Monetary Fund has repaid their old loans, given them new loans with higher interest rates. The world leadership did not pay attention, and as this shift begins to expand and accelerate, that grouping of people could not hold the level of light that is now pouring into the physical bodies. This is happening all over the world. And so that grouping of people said, we will make, as spiritual beings, we will make a conscious statement. And the conscious statement is we will step out of the body en masse and make our plight and the plight of both indigenous people and poor people around the world more obvious. Now, that was done in conjunction with another part that is very important, and that is the earth is pregnant. The earth is in a birthing process. The earth's water, as of January 1, if you could use this metaphorically, just broke. And the earth is in the process of delivering this new earth. And it's in the making, and it's enormous, and it's spectacular. And from where I play when I go to sleep at night, being pretty much fully conscious, when I come back into the body, it is the most wonderful experience you could possibly imagine, except we're not in that place to imagine it at the moment. And the earth is doing everything possible to make her pregnancy, her birthing mechanism, as unobtrusive to humanity and to the world as possible. But if you've ever been around a pregnant woman when she's delivering and the water's just broken, you do everything you can to help at arm's distance. You know, when that flailing around starts, you don't want to have your nose close to that arm.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Yeah.
And the earth is in that position. So one of the things that group in Haiti said is, we will help. We will make an announcement. We were all in alignment with this. And so the earth was able to have a major flexing of herself. And that was one of the places that it happened. But what people don't recognize about that 2-3 day period, there was a 6.2 earthquake off the coast of California. There was a 6.2 earthquake in Guatemala. There was a 7.1 earthquake in Indonesia. There was over 200 little earthquakes in Yellowstone National Park that in that week went to over 1,000 a day in the 1, 2, 3 range. Yellowstone National Park is one of the pressure relief points on the entire planet. So this situation in Haiti was a statement to the world, pay attention, something is happening. There is going to be more earthquakes and more changes, but the earth is trying to do it as many little earthquakes as possible so that there is no need for a big one.
Right.
You know, and as you and I and all the listeners begin to understand fourth dimensional choice, and see, third dimension, there is no unconditional. Third dimension, by structure, is conditional. It's only when you can get into present time and observe and choose that you begin to find unconditional. And so when the third dimension drops into all the folks on the planet, rigid, hard, me, what about me, and go into fear, that contraction is such that it's really impinging upon the Earth's ability to move fluidly. And as this world economy begins to adjust and the world leadership resists numbers of changes, the Earth is the third point on that triangle, and it's going to be forced into more reactionary convulsions. So you and I are really important in making this process as fluid and as simple as can be. That was a lot.
Oh, yeah. I know it's really funny because for some reason I've been thinking back over the last few days of experiences I've had in my life and how I have been so incredibly fortunate For example, when I was in high school, my math teacher, who was a bit of an eccentric, but I remember distinctly her telling us, look, every problem has at least 3 ways to solve it.
Yeah.
Find that third option. And that's where you get into response rather than reaction.
Yeah, that's a great piece of information.
Yeah. And I've had little things dropped on me, all my life, and I just keep sitting here shaking my head saying, gee, I'm lucky.
Maybe you're creative.
Yeah, well, I'm that too, but it's kind of funny the way I planned it out. But the whole thing comes back to, are you going to be responsible?
Yes.
Because all responsibility is the ability to respond instead of react.
Exactly.
So that's the whole thing with your analogy of the foot in the pile,
Exactly.
Are you going to respond to it or are you going to react to it?
Yeah. I make it as a joke, but as you look down, you find yourself with your foot in that pile, and especially when your feet are bare, you can go, oh, no, this is terrible, or you can go, oh, wow, this is warm and gushy, and isn't this interesting? And everybody goes, oh, gosh, how gross. But the point is, choose. One allows you to go, wow, that was an interesting experience I just created for myself, and take your foot out of it, put it in the puddle, wipe it off on the grass, and be about on your way to get your Sunday paper.
Right.
The other one stays there and says, how terrible, we need laws, and we need to find this person who did this thing.
Yeah.
Which feels better.
Well, what feels better to me is washing my foot off and going to get my paper.
Exactly, And Abraham, Esther Hicks always says, as they do their wonderful stuff that they've been doing for so long,
right.
Which thought feels better? It says you put one in one hand and, oh, it's terrible, and we should get those people. And the other one says, maybe they were having a bad day this lifetime. Which thought feels better?
Right.
Because it's really all about you and how you choose to move through the rigidness or a flexible set of choices.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of amusing because, Mark Twain said that common sense is so rare, that's why they call it common.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing of the politicians going on in Washington right now. Don't they realize that if they were statesmen and served the needs of the people, they'd get reelected?
Yeah.
That's the natural consequence of doing your job.
Yeah. Well, the place right now, and it's easy. There you go. I mean, you can say to them, how stupid can you be, and how bad can you be, and why don't you get this? But and I can take 2 or 3 points on that. One is there are a lot of very intelligent, smart people doing the best they can in that position. And
I agree.
And we never get to see them. We don't even know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
The system is so structured that it is a very impossible system to move around in. Now, in the 30s, in the 40s, maybe it was less labor intensive. There was less information. There was fewer problems, fewer situations. What we're really looking at is a system that does not work.
Right.
And when you're playing in a system that doesn't work, it doesn't matter how smart you are or not. And there are people that are there that are not particularly smart.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very representative of the world that but to a great extent, what you see in a place like Washington or in world leadership, in fact, is directly related to what they are leading.
Mm-hmm.
It's you and I.
Yep.
It's how we hold our belief systems and what we think, what we're willing to be responsible or not for. And so it's very easy for any one of us to sit and say, what's wrong with them?
Mm-hmm.
The first question is, what's wrong with me?
Right.
And not looking for blame or I'm a bad person, but when you can start to notice the things that you judge, just know they're a mirror for an aspect of you that's observing.
Exactly. And that's the whole thing, is people have to understand, I think, that nothing as far as government is concerned